Unknown Prophet here. Welcome. Let's slay some demons. This is January 28th, 2020. The virtual eve of the upcoming war. The war in the Middle East. The war against Iran. The ignition point of World War III, so-called World War III, or Armageddon. This war is at our fingertips. It's actually occurring now, just hasn't reached the boiling point. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about some of the events that will surround and are surrounding the war. Some of the events leading up to it, some of the events occurring during, and some of the events that will follow. Now we are told in the scriptures that pestilence will proceed. Proceed who? See, this is in Habakkuk. Because there are two characters there. But it says pestilence will precede him. So we're going to talk about that. And again, we're going to talk about the events surrounding this war, before, after, and during. So hold on. Here we go. First, we're going to briefly discuss the elephant in the room, so to speak. There's a big situation occurring that is so obvious that even Ray Charles, lying and dead, could see it. That's this mystery 666 beast. Well, he's not a mystery to those whose eyes are wide open. It shouldn't be a mystery to anyone. So why is it? Let's talk briefly about this beast. It is very easy to identify this beast because he had one very indelible, very broad, very sharp, very, what's the word I want to use, acute mark. Talking about marks, the mark of the beast, well, he has a very outspoken, right, very visible, very clear mark. And what is that? He would have power to stop anyone and everyone from buying and selling who doesn't cooperate with him. In general, that's it. Anyone that doesn't incorporate with this beast, he has the power to stop them from buying and selling, even to kill them if he wants to. Now, they've been talking about this beast for hundreds of years. Oh, the Antichrist is coming. He's going to have this power. See? He's going to shake up the world. See? No one will be before computers, right? Well, they've been marketing. If you don't have this mark, you won't be able to buy and sell. Once computers came on the scene, well, it's going to take, he's going to put a computer mark on you. He's going to put a disc on you. He's going to put a tattoo on you. It's going to, it's going to, your debit card. It's going to stop your debit card, your credit cards, and so forth and so on. The computer age. So it changed. The color, you understand, changed as age changes, as time changes, as technology changes. See, now it's robots and so forth. But in regards to all of that, the unundistinguishable mark, a very distinguishable mark, is he would not be able to, no one would be able to be a buy or sell that did not cooperate with this beast. Now, has anyone ever had that power in so-called human history for the last 6,000 years? Remember this will be a global power. So has there ever been a global power prior to the so-called British Empire upon which the sun never set? That was their brag. The sun never sets on the British Empire because it was a global empire. It was the first global empire in so-called human history. There's no other country that has had global power in the last 6,000 years. Great Britain, so-called Great Britain, was the first. And then, during World War II, when their empire started declining, another empire began to rise, which was even more powerful than the British Empire, which is a so-called American empire. It is a global empire that was much greater, much more vast, and much more powerful than the British Empire ever was. And guess what? It has that power. So-called British Empire did not have that power, not even close. But America has that power to stop anyone from buying and selling. They call it sanctions. Anyone that does not agree with them or agree with the image of the beast, which is false Israel, or the beast that was wounded by a sword, which is Great Britain, then they will sanction them or kill them. That's exactly what it said this beast would do. His name is not Damien. You don't have to look for any 666 between his toes, you understand? Or behind his back, or behind his ears, you understand? Or between his butt. No, you don't have to look for all that. All you got to do is find who is worshiping, supporting, you understand, this beast. And they have the mark. We don't care where it is, you got it. You see? You don't care where it is, you got it. They had that mark. If they're worshiping and supporting this beast in any way, it's clear. But how come no one's talking about crickets? Why is no one talking about it when it's so clear, so obvious? Because it's a global conspiracy. That's why I said they deceived the whole world. Who deceived the whole world? Gog and Magog, chapter 20. That's the history of Europe. It's not a future history. It's not prophecy. It's future. It's present, past history. It's from the collapse of the Roman Empire, when Europeans, the Jews, and Caucasians was thrown into the bottomless pit. 1,000 years in the Dark Ages, that's the bottomless pit. 1,000 years it was. That's what the prophecy says. And then the resurrection of Islam. Prophet Muhammad didn't create Islam. He resurrected it. It's the religion of Abraham. And they ruled for 1,000 years. Then came out of that, after the end of that, came out Gog and Magog. The two empires, the two global empires. Who's the two global empires? It's only been two. Gog and Magog. Magog means the mother of Gog. Britain was the mother of America. How simple can it be? And they said they would deceive the whole, that's what they're deceiving the whole world about. Who they are. You see? So there you go. See? So that's why they're deceiving people. So we don't have to look for 666. He's right in our face. It's clear as day. And for those who talk about the computer age, well, they're doing that. They can stop a nation, you understand, from commerce. Stop their banks. Shut down their bank accounts. Prohibit them from accessing their bank accounts. There you go. That's clear enough. See? So that should set the tone about what we're going to talk about. And ask yourself a question. Why? And all the Christian preachers know about this, right? This is chapter 13 of Revelations, so-called Revelations, the angel. They all know about it. They've been talking about it for years. They wrote movies about it and everything else. So why is no one talking about it now? Why is it crickets? Why are they quiet when it's so clear and obvious? Ask yourself that question. If there's not a global conspiracy, if there's a global conspiracy, then stop saying conspiracy theories, because this is a clear conspiracy right here. Because any fool can see this. And how come no one's talking about it? And they all know about it. Anyone that's ever read the Bible, they read those Damien movies, any of that stuff, they know about this, and no one's talking about it when it's so clear. And this beast will be so powerful. You see? And your soul is in jeopardy if you worship or serve this beast. So why is the preachers not talking about it? None of them. And Farrakhan's not talking about it either. He say he claims he knows the angel. He claims he followed Elijah Muhammad. He should be blessed. He should be black blasting this all over the world. He ain't said a word, not one damn word about it. Nothing. And it's so clear. You don't need Farrakhan to explain this to you. You don't need me to explain it to you. Just read it and think and look at what's going on in the world today. There's no confusion there. That's the beast. And it's three of them. See, America, you got false Israel, and you got Britain. And it says one of these beasts is totally dependent on the first beast, totally. Well, that's so-called Israel. It totally dependent on America. America gives them financial support, political support, military support. Without it, false Israel could not survive. Will be gone. And that image of the beast is that beast for false Israel will be the image of the beast wounded by a sword. Who is that beast? That's Great Britain. And false Israel's government is a clone of the British government. That's what we need, an image of copy. How can you go wrong with that one? If you go wrong with that one, then you don't know nothing. You can't go wrong with that one. There's nothing to say on that one. Anybody that's for real, they can't go wrong with that one. Let's move on. As I was saying, just prior to the appearance of the Mahdi and the Christ, who is the Christ? That's Joshua, the one that follows Aaron. Remember the story? First came God, Pharaoh, then came Moses, Elijah, then came lion, deceitful Aaron, that's Farrakhan. Then he claimed he's Jesus. Well, he's Jesus, and who was Aaron? Because Jesus is just another name for Joshua. That's all it is. Joshua is just a different language. If you say Joshua in Greek, then you will say Jesus. Like if you say Allah in English, you say God. God in Arabic is Allah. That's all. Simple. So Aaron, Farrakhan, lion Aaron, deceiving Aaron, and then comes Joshua or Jesus. So what would he do? He said, what would precede him in the Mahdi was Pharaoh. Remember, it will be God. In the end, it will be God and Joshua as they fight their way to the promised land. God will be in the clouds, above the clouds, protecting from the sky. Why would you need to protect from the sky unless there was planes in the sky to protect you from? So Pharaoh was protected from the sky, and Joshua was battling on the ground. That's the story. As Jesus battling on the ground. And one of the first things Jesus would do was call out demons, because no one knew what a demon was. Elijah didn't talk about them that specifically, not directly. He just taught people. He called out the devils. So it said the demon-possessed man was first possessed by devils, but he broke the chains of the devils, now just to be plagued by the demons. So that's what he would do. He'd call out the demons. Who are the demons? They're Caucasian blacks, the seed of the devil, as a result of the rape of black women for 400 years. Those are the demons. And Farrakhan's one. If your father's Caucasian, you're Caucasian. That means you're a demon. He says, that's Caucasian, so he's a demon. So if you follow him with that knowledge, that means you're a demon or you're a fool. So it says, just prior to his appearance, there'll be pestilence. Pestilence. And now we have a pestilence going on, a very bad one, they say. China had to sit down, I think, about 10 cities so far. Shut them down. And it's already broken out of China. They have cases in the United States, in Saudi Arabia, all over the place. And they think they're having trouble with it because it adjusts so fast, right? They call it evolves so fast, is that the word they use? That they can't make a vaccine fast enough. Because fast they make the vaccine, right? Then it's take and change it to another, convert. You understand? So that vaccine doesn't work on it anymore. You see? So that's one of the problems they have with fire. It does it very quickly. Faster than most viruses. You see? So, and they don't know. You don't have control of it. In fact, New York must have called a national emergency already because they feel there's definitely coming to New York. So that's one of the signs of one of the harbingers of the presence of the Son of Jesus, or Joshua, and Farai, the appearance of Farai, called Michael. See? So that's where we are. That's one of the signs. Because he's about to appear. If you understand that war in the Middle East is about to break out, it says Michael and his angels, that's Farai, and his Shia, they are his angels, fought against the dragon, which is sort of Arabia, right? And his angels, which is Gog, Magog, and Dajjal, America, Britain, and most Israel. It doesn't say Farai's angels fought, it says Farai, and that means that's where that war is going to make, that's where he's going to make, that's how he's going to make his debut. You understand? What a debut, right? He's going to come in and kick their ass. And he's going to kick them all right out the Middle East. Completely, totally, quickly. And they're not coming back. It says they're not coming back. Once they kick that, they're not coming back. Why? Because they saw what he did. They saw that their jets, their hypersonic missiles, and all that stuff had no effect on him at all. He just took them out. They can't tell the American public that. That's why they're keeping it on the low right now about the UFOs. They already had a report, just came out, you understand, that they have incredible knowledge, complete, direct knowledge of the UFOs, so-called UFOs. But they can't reveal it to the public because it might have deleterious effect, a very detrimental effect on national security. How's that? Because America's bragging about, well, Trump is bragging. We got the greatest military, you understand, since the Big Bang. You understand? We got the greatest military, you understand, since the creation of the sun. Yeah. We got the greatest military, you understand, since before God. You see? And then to tell you that there's something flying around there whose agenda is to take out America and to protect the original people here, the seed of Abraham, and they can't touch it. And China and Russia has set their best fighter pilots and planes after these things, and they was taken out. The pilots and the planes, their jets, their rockets, whatever. Americans have experienced the same thing. There's not revealed to the people. They can't tell people that because this so-called fantastic, most powerful, you understand, the most dramatic, you understand, the most lethal military ever existed is the security blanket for evil America. These wicked people. They're all devils. If you remove that from them, because they're paranoid people. See, a lot of them are waiting around wondering what's God going to take revenge for all the stuff they have done. Some of them are aware of that. They wonder, man, that's why they get all these guns and things, because they feel it's coming. That's what Jefferson said. He said he trembled when he thought that God may be a just God. That means they had to pay consequences for what they're doing. He knew what they was doing. He was doing himself. So they're aware of it, and they're paranoid, and they don't know where it's coming from. And they're looking at black folks every day and every night, looking at them. And they're trying to be friendly and everything, because they're wondering, are you going to be how God going to do it? Are you going to rise up against us? Because hell, you justify it. If you rise up against us, you justify it in doing it. It's a righteous attack, right? It's retaliation for what you have done. It's not aggression. And they're wondering if we're going to retaliate. You see? So they're nervous. They go to bed at night, wondering if the next knock on the door, the bunch of niggas was about to take their heads. That's what they fear. And so now they're trying to be nice. You got all these commercials with whites and black, what mixed families and everything, trying to soften you up. Then you got Farrakhan, you understand, trying to make devils acceptable. They're not devils anymore. They're the enemy. So he's kissing on him. Oh, he's not a devil. That means it's not their nature anymore. It's their behavior, contrary to everything Elijah Muhammad and Master Muhammad taught. Because he's a demon. So he's in there to help soften you up. See? Anyway, this is a sign of the imminent appearance for I was going to make his debut. And Jesus, the real Jesus, not the fake, corny one. It's so funny, because you got Mr. Dumb Ishmael, right? He's up there talking about, well, he showed a picture of this Caucasian Jesus with long hair and all that stuff. And he says, well, he's supposed to have hair like lamb's wool. And he don't have no hair like lamb's wool. And then he showed a picture of Farrakhan. Dumbass, he don't have a hair like lamb's wool either. These people are so stupid. It's hilarious. I mean, you don't have to go Calvin Central no more. Just watch, I.org, man. You be cracking up for 2 hours. Next one. Boy, these both those clouds. Boy. Okay, see here? There's the angel key. So when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, know this desolation is not. Now this here kind of clears up if you think about it, because you see abomination of desolation, but see now it singles out desolation. Desolation is destruction. See, so the abomination, see, means it's something that's abominable, something that's not should be, right? Terrible. See, what's an abomination? See, that's. Let me check something real quick here for you, because I want to be precise on this, because this is one of the most critical concepts in the Bible. So it says here, an abomination, a thing that causes disgust or hatred. Thing that causes disgust or hatred. That's what abomination is, and it's about to be destroyed. Thing that causes disgust and hatred. Now, false Israel has definitely caused hatred over there. They've built 72 years of hatred since 1948. 73 years of hatred. I mean, they intensely hated in that part of the world. Intensely. And disgust because they're not real. And we know they're not real. Disgust. Because they pretend to be something they're not. See, that's where abomination of desolation, something that's disgusting and hated. And so they single out here because they said it's about to be destroyed. Desolation means destruction. So something that's hated and loathed with disgust is about to be destroyed. So when you see Jerusalem encompassed by armies or surrounded by armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. And this, when you understand the angel, this is this construct they're talking about. Because when you see this situation, that means America and Britain are kicked out of the Middle East, right? Now they're at war with China and Russia and the EU, which they think is with their friend NATO, which is going to turn against them. See, when they're surrounded, because now they're surrounded by Shia, Syria, and Iran, because America and Britain is kicked out. See, so now they're surrounded. They can't help them anymore. They're surrounded. See, they're laying siege to them. This is what they're talking about. So that means who's surrounded? They are surrounded. False Israel, Satan, they're surrounded by armies. then that means their destruction is nigh. Now, why should we care about that? Because it says when you see that, see, the destruction is nigh. It means it hasn't happened yet. It's about to happen. It's about to happen. But it says when you see that, flee. Flee immediately. Why? Flee immediately. That's what we need to concentrate on, brothers and sisters, because this is we trying to save your life. Some of you are going to be lost with lack of knowledge. Lack of knowledge of this, and we here to save your life, and we give you all the information we can, we spread it, and pretty soon we'll have a big microphone, a big megaphone, right, to blast this all over the country. So you're going to hear this. Some of you may miss it because you got the demons 24/7, especially Farrakhan, trying to block you from hearing this. He's not talking about it. Oh, they mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, but he says it's something, he calls it something else altogether. He doesn't know what it is, and you've never had anybody explain to you like this, because you don't know what it is either. But how can you survive if you don't know what it is when it tells you that when you see this, you have to flee? That's one of the greatest events of history, because it said at this time, this is going to spark, right, Armageddon. This is going to spark the time of unprecedented trouble. This is a spark that's going to ignite that time. See? There's also the sign of Jonah. As Jonah was in the belly of a well, right? So Son of Man will be in the heart of earth. You need to understand the angel to understand that. But you see, written right there, right? They represent the earth, right? And the sun represents the Son of Man, right? And they're on the right, they're on the left, they're on the side, so they're on the heart side. And so now they're there. So they come together. That's what I said, when you see them in the heart of earth, right? So shall the Son of Man be. So the two things coincide. See? Master Prophet Muhammad is showing his hand in the east, and Suleiman is showing his hand in the west simultaneously. See? Because Master Prophet Muhammad is taking down the false prophet, false Israel, right? Satan, he's taking them down. Because that's the one, the whole world, he got to deceive the whole world, got the whole world believing in a lie, a big fog. That's the driving force behind it, false Israel. Because everyone thinks they're true, and they're not. 666 person. When Master Muhammad takes that down, that's the pillar that's holding up this reality that you're believing in, that you're lost in, this fog. Because it's not real. It's a dream. You walk around in dream state. You're dreamers. See, you're walking dreamers. You're not in reality. There's only one reality. That's mathematics. But your mind is lost in some alternate reality you call spirit zone or what's other names you call it? Spirit dimension or whatever. It does not exist, but you believe it does. And you're about to be shaken out of it. And Suleiman, while Master Muhammad's taking false Israel down over there, the foundation, he's also relieving the original people here, right, he's taking down the son of perdition, Farrakhan, minstrel Farrakhan. So he's the big fog over here. He's supporting that lie because he keeps telling you, oh, the Abraham, he never really talks about, but he does talk about, oh, well, Abrahamic covenant, right? And then he'll read the whole thing. What the Quran says about those believing part of the book, disbelieving the other, he don't read the whole thing. He said, we're not going anywhere. Oh, the Atlantic Ocean is not going to part. No, it's not going to part because he's stupid. That's not what it means. But we return home. He says he's teaching lies. Muhammad's teaching he is not, because he is dissing all of the lessons of Master Prophet Muhammad. Because if you read the lesson of Master Prophet Muhammad, you cannot reconcile that, right? See, you cannot reconcile that with Farrakhan's teachings. He's talking about bringing devil NOI. He's going to heal Babylon, right? He's going to cause Babylon to repent. And let's say clearly that cannot happen. and says we're not even trying to think along those lines anymore. See, they have to be removed off the planet. But he said, no, I'm going to heal them. See, I'm going to bring them to the NOI, and they're not devils anymore. That's totally contrary to everything Master Muhammad taught. He's not teaching. He's teaching Sunniism. See, L. Ron Hubbard. See, Dr. Sun Munshun's Moon, all kinds of BS. And just walking in Wallace's footsteps, just to make the same mistake Wallace did. See, Wallace took the frog and threw him into hot boiling water, and the frog jumped out. So what he did is he turned the cooler water off, threw the frog in there, and now he slowly turned the heat up. So now you got some of the frogs in there boiling, they don't really realize it. Too late for them. Abomination of desolation, brothers and sisters, that is the main issue. That's the issue that kicks off almost all the Bible, 80% of the Bible at least. 80% of the angel at least. Almost every 80% events you talk about, you see an angel, happens as a result of the abomination of desolation after false Israel is taken down. That's the event of all times. That's the event that starts off the tribulation period, the event that starts off a time of unprecedented trouble. That's the event, right, that begins our salvation, our redemption. That's the cornerstone event, abomination of desolation. That's why you see, when you see Jerusalem, right, they're talking about false Israel, encompassed with or surrounded with armies, then know that the desolation of false Israel is near. And we see that right now, right? And we see them, America and Gog and Magog, right, has been at war. Gog, Magog, and Dajjal, right, has been in conflict with America, with Iran and Syria ever since Trump came in the JCPOA in 2018 May. And it's just getting it intensifies daily. And we know it's got to blow up any day now. They're even admitting it. They're admitting, false Israel is admitting that it's going to attack Iran. It says openly. It's allocating billions of dollars for that purpose publicly, and it's training its Air Force, right, to make runs against Iran, and they're getting so-called bunker busters, right, from America that can penetrate deep into the ground and blow up to try to destroy their so-called nuclear sites. They're openly saying this, and Iran says you're going to need more than billions of dollars because the hurt we're going to put on you costs a lot more than a few $1 billion. So they're talking openly right now, so-called proxy war, but it's getting hotter every day at the point that they go directly to each other, right? That's where you see that situation you see there, when Jerusalem will be surrounded by armies, because when they go directly together, right, America and Britain will be, Gog and Magog will be defeated. They'll be thrown out of the Middle East. As I said, the dragon, Michael, and his angels went to war with the dragon and angels, and the dragon angels did not prevail. They was kicked out. They was thrown out altogether. That leaves false Israel alone, defenseless, because America and Britain will not be able to help them because now they're at war with China and Europe. Both sides of Europe, Eastern and Western Europe. So they cannot defend, they cannot defend false Israel anymore. So now false Israel is surrounded. And they think they have nuclear weapons that can protect them, but they're going to find out that they're blanks. They're not, when they go to pull a trigger, nothing's going to happen. So now they set all this in motion. Now they're surrounded by the Shia, right, under siege. So the siege will be so bad that the fathers will eat their sons and sons will eat their fathers. And then, see, at that point in time, once that war reached that, they're at war now, but it reached that intensity, America and Britain is kicked out, that's when you see what they mean. So it's a short period of time there where you see that false Israel is under attack, they're isolated, and they're under siege, right? When you see that, that's run, because their destruction is imminent. Could be a day, a week, they don't say, but it's imminent. So those of you who are aware, who are angel warriors or messengers of the covenant, or beacons, at that time, right? Hopefully you have prepared flyers and whatever, right? To tell as many people as possible, right? The churches everywhere around, that how it's going to result. And that's what they talked about when they talk about the abomination, desolation, that, because that's not supposed to happen. See, oh man, see, first of all, America's not supposed to be kicked out by them, but America's kicked out there. Problem number one, how did that happen? See, that's what it says, men's hearts will be failing for fear of those things that come upon the earth, because the powers of the heavens will be shaken. What powers? In other words, who has power in the heavens and the Middle East now? America, Britain, and false Israel. When that power is broken, right? The powers of heaven broke. Now, people said on America, their hearts will be failing for fear, because now they're wondering, says, for fear of those, a fear of what they feel coming to pass upon the earth, upon America, because the powers of heaven broken. America's powers was broken in the Middle East. So now they're fearful of what might come to earth, come to America as a result of it. He says so much so their hearts will fail. So they fail in anticipation. What are they going to do when the actual fact shows up? So at that point in time, right, the power of heaven was broken. Then they're at war with China and Russia and their former friends or thought friends with so-called European Union. Mother against daughter, father against son, mother against daughter-in-law, daughter against mother-in-law. That's what it's talking about. So phase one, right, nightmare one, heartbreak one, was America and false Israel, America and Britain being kicked out, leaving false Israel to defend itself, and realizing its nuclear arsenal has been neutralized. See? So phase two is this under siege, false Israel under siege, and their nuclear arsenal has been neutralized. That's phase two. So, oh man, wow, that's not supposed to happen. See, the first one wasn't supposed to happen in America, and God can make God kicked out. That wasn't supposed to happen. Heart attacks. Then, false Israel is now surrounded, and they're not protected by Gog and Magog anymore. They're surrounded and laid siege by their arch enemies, Syria and Iran, and their nuclear arsenal is neutralized. That's phase two. So they was had heart attacks in phase one. What do you think? Right? Heads busting, heads blowing up. That's phase two. See? At that point, that's when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies. That's the point where if you're a beacon or you're knowledgeable, you should be going to work already. But at that point, you get in high gear. Flyers and everything. Because now you identified this. This is phase two. Identified it. America, because they thinking, the preachers telling them, oh, that means Jesus is about to come, because false Israel cannot be taken down. They cannot be taken down. See, so that means Jesus had to arrive, because he promised he would never let them take it. So if they under siege, that means he's ready to come back and ready to kick the Shia, Iran, and Syrians, get ready to get rid of all the Arabs, and that's his return. He's going to get rid of all the wicked, and he's going to put America on top. That's what they believe in. See, and that's what the preacher's reinforcing. See, but you tell them, no, that's not going to be the outcome. See, you tell them the pack codes start See, at that time they got time to pack. Maybe a little time. They don't know how much. See, because at that time, that says it's nigh. If you're wise, right, you're already gone. The beacons, right, and the and your words, right? They understand what's going on. They stay as long as they can. They get as much information out as they can. Be a beacon to let everybody know what. So, famine, brothers and sisters, famine is on the horizon and it's coming fast. They're going to break the bread of these wicked people. Everything they've been eating for the last 5 years is stolen. It's not theirs. Consequence. They're causing other people, other nations to go hungry so they can eat. They starved us for 500 years for us to eat shit. That's what the Bible says. Read it. Cow manure. While we prepared steaks and vegetables and all kinds of nutritious things for them, they're just eating shit. Now, it said that God would judge them after the 400 years. 1619 to 2019, according to their records, 2020 would be beginning of judgment. Would start with the first plague, the plague that would kill the firstborn, the elderly, and pass over the seed of the true seed of Abraham. And that shows you that false Israel cannot be because it didn't pass over them. And they know this. They can't let you know it. They cannot let you know who you are. They cannot reveal your identity to you. They cannot allow you to unite, even think about uniting. We're going to talk about those things. So let's move on, brothers and sisters. Famine. Generally, famine means no food. That will be the main part of it. But there will be famine. And that doesn't mean because, you say, well, it was a drought. No, that's not everything called famine. Famine can be if they can't get food to you. If you're sick and cannot get out of bed, it's impossible to get out of bed, and there's plenty of food in the refrigerator, and there's no one around, effectively, that's a famine for you because you cannot eat anything, even though there's food there. And if there's food on the farms, but it cannot get to you, if you add all the pieces together, I'm going to explain to you today, that's what's going to happen. The food is not going to be able to get to you, the food that is available. Famine. It says a total famine. Not just in food, but primarily in food. A total famine. It says it started out very bad. It started out where it says people pay an astronomical amount of money for bird shit. Dove shit, that's what it says, dove manure. If they can find it. So you had to catch the dove first, right? And also for a donkey's head. How much meat is on a donkey's head? That's where it starts. And then bam, there's no food at all. Then they start eating people. Eventually they start eating their own children. And they start eating each other, the neighbors. That's what it says will happen. It says a woman that's pregnant, she will give birth in silence, in secret. She'll go to a secret place and hide and give birth in silence because she don't want to share the baby that she's about to give birth with to her husband or anyone else. She won't eat it herself. That's what Scripture saying. That's how bad it's going to be. And if you don't listen, brothers and sisters, you're going to be on the menu. Famine. It's my job to warn you. Farrakhan claims he's a warner. What? What's he warning you about? He's telling you, you wicked, sinful, you got to believe in him. He's in a wheelchair. What happened to him? If he's so righteous and everything, how did he get his ass blown up with some pellets, radiation pellets? He's supposed to be protected by God, right? Who needs that kind of protection? Because a curse with a curse can robbing God. He can't protect himself. How the hell go? He can't protect himself. How can he protect you? He can't protect himself. How can he protect you?
He can't protect himself. How can he protect you? He claims that war with the Jews, right? And they blow his ass up when he had that cancer he's supposed to have had. They put radiation pulse up behind him, blew his behind him. They took out all his internal organs and his reproductive organs. Now he got shit and piss in the bag. What kind of protection is that? He can't protect himself. How in the hell he gonna protect you? Okay. Over here. Okay, here we go. Now look at this, brothers and sisters. Look, a horse, greenish yellow. It's really greenish yellow, not pale. And the setting planet name is death. The point I would make here, you read it. That's the fourth seal in Book of Revelation, chapter 6, right? And it says, it was given them authority upon the fourth of the earth. Now, if you understand the angel key, the fourth earth represents America. It was given the authority upon the fourth of the earth, 1/4, to kill in long sword and in famine. Famine, remember that. Famine. Famine is coming. It's going to be long sword and death and by wild beasts of earth. It's going to be a war. Famine. Death. It means death in a different way you think, but famine. All is coming together. Famine. People who have not known any, have missed a meal in 500 years. But we're causing famine all around the world, taking people's food, killing them, genocide, murder. They said they would go out to steal, kill, destroy. That's exactly what the Europeans did. That's exactly how America became America. And they tried to deny it. They point the finger at everyone. It's a terrorist nation. It's the greatest theft known in history. They stole everything from us, even our humanity. They stole everything from us, even our humanity. And I say it again, they stole everything from us, including our humanity. The greatest theft in history. No nation ever went that far. No nation has ever went that far. No nations ever went that far. Took everything, even our humanity. We were animals, period. It's in their constitution. It's not even human. And to maintain that system, it had to be maintained by terror. 400 plus years of terror. By terrorists like Jefferson and Washington, who owned slaves. How do you think they maintained that order? Through terror. Raping children, pedophiles. Raping children. Boys and girls. And that's their history that they don't want anybody to know. Or CRT. Try calling the Holocaust CRT, see what happened to you. They just don't want anybody to know because they want to point the finger at everybody else as the most wicked country ever. Most wicked nation ever. Of all the European nations, just the wicked. Britain and America is the wickedest of all. The most wicked ever. And as God's going to punish them worse than any, he said in the Quran, will punish them worse than any nation ever would punish. And then the beginning of that punishment, that's why they're going crazy. They're going insane right before your eyes. And it says once they understand, right, when the famine comes in and they begin to understand it, it says it will drive them insane. Insane. Let's look at this, brothers and sisters. Now again, this is Babylon fallen. That's America. Do this in one day, to 1 year, will come the plagues of her death, mourning, and famine. And fire should burn down. America's going to be burned down. But Farrakhan telling you we ain't going nowhere. He's not going anywhere. He won't be here. But we're going somewhere if you pay attention, because we have a free gift for you. It says, read Revelation chapter 21. It says a free gift. Nobody's charging you anything. I haven't asked you a penny. You can't give me a penny if you wanted to. It's a free gift. Farrakhan, why you ask for money? It's a free gift. Why you ask Shepherd $1? Why you ask for money? It's a free gift. T.A. Jakes, why you ask for money? Why you ask for money? It's a free gift. Free gift. All you got to do is accept it. Nobody's going to force you to get your name in the Lamb's Book of Life. Nobody's going to accept you, right, to accept the ticket to get out of here. No one's going to force you to take the transportation to Master Muhammad to get you out of here. Nobody's going to force you to go back home to the promised land. No one's going to force you. No one's going to force you to accept this message. It's a free gift. You accept or reject it. It doesn't cost you a dime. You already paid the price. Farrakhan, Silas, T.A. Jakes, Seventh Angel, Eric. Why ask for money? It's a free gift. One day, strong as the God of the judge, miracles and judgment. Now, see, here's a famine. You eat the flesh of my people after stripping off their skin and breaking their bones. You chop them up like flesh for the cookie pot, like meat in a cauldron. That's what's going to happen, brothers, because you are God's chosen people, not them. You've done it 40 years. They have not. There is no proof they've ever done it. They told Jesus, they argued with him, says, we've never been enslaved to anybody. See? The history doesn't apply to us. And you're going to find out in a minute, because Master Muhammad is going to make that crystal clear that they're the false Israel synagogue of Satan, because they claim they have returned home according to the promise. They want the reward, but they didn't do the work. So they want to get they claim the reward, but they have no proof of having done the work. They say, oh man, hey, I worked all week. Where's the proof? You put a time card in anything? But you wanted to get paycheck. But you never did put the work in. We put the work in, but they tell us they got Farrakhan, we don't deserve anything. See, we put the work in. We submitted. We went to the 40 years of Holocaust. We now was trying to get a award. You don't get a award because you don't deserve nothing. You was punished. You wasn't here because you was working. You was being punished. It wasn't a sacrifice. That's what Farrakhan's paid to do. So he says, oh, yeah, you went through all this pain, but there's no reward because you're not going anywhere. You never reach the next sentence because he doesn't really believe you're the true seed of Abraham, or he would read the reward. Because he always preached the bad part of how the suffering you did. Because then he tells you it's punished. Because he's a Jew and and that just follows the devil. He said it follows a Jew. Read it, Google it. The Farrakhan says follows a Jew. If it follows the Jew, that makes him a black-faced Jew. He said to do that. Okay? And while false Israel said, making a claim, they were trying to see, we did the work. You go get a check. Hey, you was laying around. You was playing. You was working, but you was in jail. That's why you was working, right? That's you. You don't deserve anything. While false Israel didn't do anything, they want to go and get the check, and we put the work in for. See, everybody's against you, brothers and sisters. All the nations, everyone, even your brother and half brother Levites. Help sell you into the situation. That's your twin brother according to the Bible, because they look like you and everything. And then you got your half brother Arabs, right? Ishmael, who was jealous of you and took your land, right? And gave access to you to the devils. This scripture, brother, says, read it.
Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. I'm Fatima Hodge. Today, we'll be bear witnessing to the messenger of the covenant. Welcome. All right, sisters and brothers. Today we're going to get started off in the book of Genesis, chapter 15, verse 12 through 17. And what I'll be highlighting is the judgment that it speaks about here in this chapter, beginning 2020. All right, sisters and brothers, it reads, "And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram. And lo, an horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and they shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge. And afterwards shall they come out with great substance. And thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace. Thou shalt be buried in a good old age. But in the fourth generation they shall come hither again. For the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. And it came to pass that when the sun went down, and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace and a burning lamp that passed between those pieces." All right, sisters and brothers. So today's focus is the judgment that began in 2020. That the only person who was identifying this was, in fact, the messenger of the covenant, sisters and brothers. He's the only one that was identifying this judgment that begun in 2020. All right, sisters and brothers, so let's break that down. It shares, and when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and lo, an horror of great darkness fell upon him. So, sisters and brothers, Abram's vision was horror, right? Was of horror. That's what he's seen, right? That's exactly what took place to our nation, sisters and brothers. And they identify our experience as slavery. However, sisters and brothers, it was in fact horror, affliction, and slavery was just 1% of what the black man and woman truly experience here in hell. It reads, "And he said unto Abram, Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs." And that is exactly what we are, sisters and brothers, strangers here to America. Because this is not our land. This is hell for us, sisters and brothers. Hell is not somewhere that's underneath your feet, as they tell you. Hell is a place on earth, and that's exactly where we are today, sisters and brothers, in hell, right here in America, in a land that is not ours, a strange land, sisters and brothers, and we'll be strangers in this land, right? And that's exactly us, sisters and brothers. We meet this here description. Now let's continue. "And shall serve them, and they shall afflict them." Now let's get into that. Like I shared, they identify our experience as slavery, but they refuse to identify the fact that we were also inflicted, right? And that's exactly what the scriptures says. Not only will we be slaves, serving them, but we will also be afflicted by them, sisters and brothers. And that's that horror that our nation experienced. Being beaten, raped, tortured, treated like animals, fed like animals, threw our babies to alligators, beat our women, killed our babies, killed our men, sodomized our men, and the list goes on. Burnt us alive. Sisters and brothers, none of that is in the definition of slavery. But it does meet the description of affliction that it says right here in the scriptures that our nation would experience, the black man and woman of America. And we are the only nation that meets this description right here, that it describes God's people, right? What they would go through. Now share, and they shall afflict them 400 years, right? So it's telling you something here. It shares 400 years, right? Then it says, and also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, right? So it's telling you something here. It says after that 400 years, once that 400-year mark takes place, comes into play, will I judge that nation whom they served, right? So the nation who afflicted us and we served, sisters and brothers, which are these devils, right? And it said this will take place after the 400-year mark. And let's take it back to when we were brought here, sisters and brothers. We were brought here in 1555. However, it took them 64 years to strip us of all knowledge of self. Because when we were brought here, we knew who we were. Like I said, we were strangers in the land, right? So this was not familiar to us, sisters and brothers. And it took them 64 years to turn us into Negro bots. Robots for massa, sisters and brothers. So our servitude didn't start until 1619, sisters and brothers. Now, let's count from 1619. 400 years. 1619, 400 years from 1619 brings you to 2019, sisters and brothers. Now, the 400-year mark ended 2019. And it shared 400 years. They shall afflict them 400 years, right? And afterwards, after that 400-year mark, will I judge, right, the nation whom they shall serve. And that's exactly what took place. 2020 came right in with their judgment. And the only one that was bear witnessing to this, the only one that was informing our people, which is the messenger of the covenant, sisters and brothers, Joshua, the Messiah, the one to give our nation the message about the covenant, sisters and brothers. He's the only one that was warning us about COVID-19, about the judgment beginning, because that's exactly what it was. He identified that the scripture in Exodus was talking about exactly what took place, sisters and brothers. Share, the year will start off with a plague, and that's identifying that judgment that will begin, right? And the year started off with what, sisters and brothers? No time wasted with COVID-19, a plague, right? But it's here that it will pass over all those with the Lamb blood. And that's exactly what it did. Pass over the black nation, which is why they shut down their whole economy, sisters and brothers, because they were dying from this virus. And they were doing everything in their power to give you that shot, that vaccination, sisters and brothers, so you will also be affected and die from this as well, right? But that was a clear sign that their judgment had begun, as the messenger of the covenant made us aware of, sisters and brothers. They were trying everything to get us to accept that shot. And the only person that's telling us not to inject ourselves was the messenger of the covenant, sisters and brothers, the Messiah. And we have to understand that these devils sent that virus over, right, to Black Africa. Sent the shots and things like that, the vaccination over there, and forced them to take that shot, which is why they were affected, right? But they were not affected from this, sisters and brothers. So we have to understand the series and the times that we're living in, sisters and brothers. And the only one bear witnessing to this, and the only one that is giving you any light about what's happening to you and our nation right now, sisters and brothers, is the Messiah, Joshua, sisters and brothers, the messenger of the covenant. And that's what I'm going to bring in next, the covenant, sisters and brothers. What is the covenant that Joshua came to give us the message about, right? It shares here, Genesis chapter 15, verse 18. In that same day, the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates. So, sisters and brothers, this here is our covenant. Our promise, sisters and brothers, God's sure word that he made to his people for suffering here in hell with these devils, enslaving and afflicting us for 400 plus years, sisters and brothers. It shared, I have given this land from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates. So this is identifying a location, right? That we will relocate to, right? Which is our land, sisters and brothers, Arabia. That is, in fact, the black man and woman's heaven, which is also on earth, not somewhere beyond the sun, moon, and stars, sisters and brothers. And this is something they lie to you about, to destroy our nation, sisters and brothers, because they have you thinking outside of reality. However, reality is this covenant right here, which is heaven on earth for our nation, sisters and brothers. And this is the message the messenger of the covenant has come and given our nation, because this is in fact our vision, sisters and brothers. In our nation, we don't have a vision. We're walking around pushing the American dream, but this is what our enemies wanted, right? To destroy our nation, because it said a people without a vision will perish, which is why the messenger of the covenant, the Messiah, has come to give us our vision. And thanks to the black woman, we are here today to fulfill the Abrahamic covenant. All right. With that, I'll bring on our next speaker. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. It's Brother David Hodge. All right, brothers and sisters. The messenger of the covenant, the breaker of the seven seals, Master Suleiman, the one who has been on the scene 30 plus years, putting pressure, high pressure on our enemies, protecting us from being destroyed, warning us, telling us things in advance before they happen. Prophecy, not being a reporter, telling you stuff after it happened. No, telling you before it happened, which makes you a prophet, giving you the ability to tell you what's going to happen before it happened. He has been on the scene, brothers and sisters, telling us exactly what's been taking place. If you're paying attention to what the information that he's sharing, he's 100% on point, accurate, precise, details. He tell you everything before it happens in detail. Been saying these things for years. You see, not just jumping on board after they take place and then try to wiggle in and fit in somewhere. No, telling you exactly every event before it takes place, brothers and sisters. And he's the only one that's telling us these things. Everyone else they're imposters. You see, the ones that's not with him. You see, they're imposters. It said, all before me are liars and thieves. That's what they are. They're robbers of God, robbing the message, in the way of the message, blocking the message, but they're not giving you the good information that you need. That way that it says, my people are lost from the lack of knowledge, lost from the lack of the knowledge of the Injil, the information that he's sharing to save our lives, to pull you up to speed, to get you prepared to go home, preparing you. Unlike Louis Farrakhan, he's not preparing you. He's preparing you to stay here in America, calling God a liar, setting you up for failure, setting you up for destruction, you see, because America's going to be burnt in flames. So it means you stay here, and whatever you invest, including yourself, be burnt up, you see. So he's investing in your destruction. See, but the message of covenant, he's investing in your salvation. He's investing in your purification. He's getting you prepared to go home. He's giving you the information for the spring. We're in the winter. It's a winter reality, you see. And now we're headed to the spring. So that means you can't take the winter with you. I mean, if you stay here with the winter, then you'll be destroyed. So that's why you got to get prepared. Get the spring information, the Injil. Get you prepared for the spring, the transition to the spring. We're out of here. You see? However, brothers and sisters, as I explained, he's the only one here giving us the information, precise, accurate, on before it happens. You see? Telling us about things like this. See, I hadn't heard anyone speak about this but him, because they can't speak to it. Because if they speak to it, it exposed the people that's supposed to be God's chosen people, the holy people, right? It affect them in their narrative as being the true seed of Abraham. So that's why they don't speak to this. They can't. It'll shatter this whole reality. It'll come crumbling down overnight. They can't speak about these things, but the measure of the covenant does. So he's the one who has told us in great detail, telling us exactly that this was going to happen. You remember the whole peace and safety thing, right? He was preaching peace and safety over there, right? And he was talking about the JCPOA agreement, all this peace talk, right? And the Abraham Accord and getting back together. And they was pleading and begging that all these nations to stop doing all these things after they've deprived all these nations of peace and safety, right? But now they're pleading and asking everyone to stop, asking Iran to stop China, stop Russia. You see, now things is backfiring, right? That's what he said. He said you inherit what you say and you do. He said backfire. That's what's going to happen. It said when judgment started, it said all things would fail. And that's exactly what's happening. See, they thought everything was going to happen the same. They thought they could use the same tricks, which they called it skill. They had no damn skill. It was good luck, and the good luck is ran out now. So now they realizing the things that they're doing not working, but they can't see it. So they doubling down on it. So they doubling down their destruction. Okay. So the point is, so they did all these peace and safety, right? So everything's supposed to go back to normal. They're supposed to get everything back under control, get all this peace, right? All this peace was supposed to happen, right? So who's the only one been telling you that that's not going to happen? The measure of the covenant. He said it won't be no more JCPOA agreement. Won't be no Abraham Accord. Won't be no peace. When he said, and when peace and safety, and when they say peace and safety, it says sudden destruction. Bam. And that's exactly what happened. Matter of fact, let me go to it. That's what happened right here, brothers and sisters. Excuse me. The abomination of desolation. That's exactly what took place October 7th, 2023, where the Arabs, they attacked. They attacked Israel because they're not going for that anymore. They've been oppressing them for 70 plus years. They sitting in their land, you see, and they oppressed them and was doing all the things that they're doing to them, and they thought that things were going to just be good. No, they rolled in on them, you see, and they went underneath. They executed in such a way that showed that their thinking level was higher than theirs. They bypassed all their so-called technology and all those things. You see, was showing that, and it was a bunch of a sheep herder, or people that usually wouldn't be in that realm, right, of work of the point is they had a higher level of mathematics than them, and they surprised them because that wasn't supposed to happen, is what I'm sharing. The point is that happened, right? So guess what happens? They get upset, even though it's just, because you've been doing all these things to them. So it says you reap what you sow. So what did you expect to happen? You've been doing all these things to these people, and that's a just action for them to take their land, to get their land back and get you the hell off of it, and so they can get what they need and get you away from them because they're tired of being oppressed by you, right? So that's good. They did they're doing what they're doing, you see, for their people, and then so bam, then they make the action to want to get even, but it was already even. You see, now they cause another imbalance. You see, because that has something to do with it. That's Satan. You see, which we'll get to that in a minute. This is exactly what Satan would do. You see, they act just like America: kill, steal, and destroy. You see, they do all the things that they do, bully people and take people's stuff, and then they cry. They cry, oh, look what's happening to me. Well, why do you think? Because what you're doing to other people. You see? So, however, brothers and sisters, that took place. That's when it says, therefore, when you see the abomination of desolation, which was spoken of through Daniel the prophet, which Daniel the prophet is, the messenger of the covenant, Master Suleiman, standing in the holy place, let the reader understand. That's when he let us understand what was taking place, that the abomination of desolation was taking place. Standing in the holy place, he told us the abomination is false Israel. And they're the ones standing in the holy place where they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be over there. And it says that they were doing the abomination of desolation. And that happened right on time, brothers and sisters. Bam. October 7th, 2023. They were doing the abomination of desolation, killing women and children, blowing up women and children, starving and dehydrating women and children, preventing them from aid, bombing and blowing up their homes, schools, hospitals, infrastructures. They were committing the act of genocide, killing and destroying the Palestinian people. So false Israel is the abomination that is causing desolation on the people of Gaza because they were uprising, right? They were coming up. They were about to rise. They was rising up. They were about to get back what was theirs. It says the uprising of the Palestinians is being suppressed by false Israel with abominable cruelty. That's what abominable, the abomination the other word that's connected to it is abominable. So it said this is abominable. This abominable act of cruelty and destruction is causing moral revulsion and hatred towards false Israel by all the nations that are against what they are doing, brothers and sisters. So this is exposing them for exactly who they are. That's why they can't speak to it. That's why they don't talk about it. You see, they don't talk about the abomination desolation because that's going to point the finger at who they are. They're against God. You see, and that act should be happening towards, right? They shouldn't be doing that. We shouldn't be doing these things, right? Because they're supposed to be holy and pure, and they're supposed to be God's chosen people, right? And God's chosen people should be somewhat of the ones being attacked and all these things, because in the end time it said that God will roll out, come through for his people and destroy all his enemies, including all the ones who are in cooperation and collaboration with it, right? So they can't speak to the abomination desolation because it exposes them as being abomination. You see, that's doing the desolation, which means that's not good. God's people shouldn't be doing that. Shouldn't be doing nothing abominable, right? Shouldn't, especially not this action. You know what I'm saying? Which expose them for being exactly who they are. Satan. You see? This is the worst of Satan. Doing abomination desolation. You see? And standing in the holy place where they shouldn't be, and letting people know what they about. You see? Which they're setting up their destruction. But they can't see it. You see? It said they had no fear of God before their eyes. They had no fear of consequence. They don't even realize. It said they swallow a gnat, but they said they kill a gnat, but they swallow a camel. So they don't see it. They don't even know what they doing all these things. They just act. They're shallow. They're not thinking too deep on the matter because they're not designed in that. Well, that's their problem. Well, either way it go, that's why they think they're solving all their problems and they're making a bigger mess. You see? So, however, they're the ones who are doing the abomination, the desolation. And like I explained, the message of the covenant is the only one speaking to this. He's the one who told you it was happening before. He told you it was going to happen before it happened, and he's still the only one identifying it. No pastors, no preachers, no Farrakhan, no so-called woke folk. Nobody is talking about the abomination of desolation. And this message is clear. And it tells you, and this is a sign to the believers. So people that say they love God and God's directly connected to him, and they say they got a message from you. They got a message for you from God. Well, then you need to be speaking about the abomination of desolation, because it's a direct message to our people, which is a warning sign that false Israel is about to be destroyed, which is linked to the attack on all blacks. You see? So, y'all claim that y'all connected, but you ain't nothing. You ain't connected in no way. You're robbing God. You're robbing his people. You're in the way. You're blocking the message. You see? So, it said, woo! It said that I wouldn't want to be in their shoes if it was made of gold. You see? It said, what a terrible thing to be in the hands of the Son of Man. You see? So they don't realize what's going to happen to them. And it said the blood would be on their hands. You see? Woo! It said, what a terrible day. You see? So that's what they got to look forward to. You see? So, however, like I said, he's the only one who has exposed that. And it happened exactly like he shared. Because he told us, he exposed the books within the books. He pulled them out, gave them to you. He pulled out books that were in the book, and he revealed the book that was in the book that was sitting right there. The Seven Churches book, which is linked to the exact time this would take place. The Seven Churches is chapters 2 and 3 of Revelations, which is centered around the abomination of desolation and the destruction of false Israel, right? So that's the setup of the Seven Churches book. And he said it was centered around this event, the abomination of desolation and the destruction of false Israel. And he says a hint in there. If you see it, then you got it. You see? And he told you, boom, chapters 2 and 3. That's the hint, 2023. So that's another identification that you see. So he's not doing what everybody else is doing, making up stuff and all these things that they're doing and just jumping on board when things happen. No, he's telling you in advance. He's telling you how it's, what this is, how it's connected. And hey, if you're studying, you're paying attention, it's in there. And look, the hint was 2023. He knew all along when it was going to take place. And he told you before it happened. You see? It's about to pop off any day now. It's about to happen. And it's centered around this book. Chapters 2 and 3. 2023. 2, 3, 20. Man, it was so clear. You see? So it's amazing to be right here. See? Soaking up all this information. You see? Getting the good information, which is going to make a good transformation to a positive direction. You see? And we flying high. You see? Because it said complete separation. And that's where we headed. The hell out of here. But the point is to get my people this information so we all can get the hell out of here. Because it said we're not leaving until everybody is on board. We got to, you see, because we're body. You see, you love your body. You want to take care of every part of it. So we're not in the favor for ourselves. No, we're in the favor for the body. So what's good for the body is telling you the truth. Said the truth shall set you free. Giving you the good information. Said if you know better, you do better. So all these people, they don't want you to do better because they're blocking this. If they want you to do better, they stop blocking it. They get out the goddamn way. They stop acting like they're the ones because they're not. They're just blocking. They're preventing you from saving yourself. You see? So however, brothers and sisters. So you got individuals, they know what they're doing. They know what's going on. You see? They know what's happening. They just in the way. And the individual, let me see, let me make sure I'm looking through. All right, yes. So not only did the measure of the covenant tell you, not only did he tell you, he reinforced who the devils was. He told you who the demons was. Half devil, half man. From the rape of the black woman. He tell you who your enemies is. Said, if you cannot identify your enemy, then you are your enemy. You are your own enemy. He tell you exactly who Satan was. And it tell you right here. Back to 2 and 3, right? And it's right there in the book. Revelations, chapters 2 and 3. The Injil. It tell you exactly who Satan is. Which points the finger back at false Israel. So let's get into it. It says here, I have known of you the tribulation and the poverty, but rich you are in the blasphemy. That's where we go. In the blasphemy, right? Was a lie. Out of what? Out of saying Jews to be themselves and not they are, but synagogue of the Satan. Then it goes, here's another one. Chapter 3. Look, I am giving out the synagogue of the Satan, of the saying themselves Jews to be, and not they are, but they are lying. Bam. So it's self-explanatory. It's verbatim. It tells you exactly what it's saying. It says those who have synagogue. Said what? It's Satan. Said those who say themselves, saying they're Jews. Blasphemy. Lying. It says those who are lying. It says, but they are lying. And it's saying that they're saying themselves Jews to be themselves. And they're lying. Doing blasphemy. They're Satan. See? So it's clear on who they are. They the synagogue of the Satan. They're the ones blocking the good information. They're the ones keeping this clown show going, keeping all these distractions and keeping you pacified with all this junk, keeping you going to concerts and parties and kickbacks and beach parties and this and doing. You see, they're the ones advertising all the foolery. Got the sports, the everything you can think of, everything that's made to distract you is to destroy you because they're trying to keep you busy, keep your brain busy with all the information other than this. So it's the bad information. They're pushing all that bad information on you and calling it good. As I said, it said that the things that were bad were good for you, and that's what they're trying to do to this message. Make it seem like it's bad, but it's good for you. Make it seem like and then the things that are good for you is bad for you. And that's what they're doing. They got the bad, the good, it's so-called good, but it's bad for you. It's literally setting up your destruction. You see? They have you stuck in the American dream. You see, have you caught up in the web of the American dream. Got you embedded. Got you They're the ones pushing that, which is a dead end vision for you. You see, it's not a vision. It's a dream. It's fake. See, so their job is to make sure you never catch it. You see, they want to keep you around the damn track, running around trying to catch the American dream, which is the rubber rabbit, and hoping you never catch it because you keep going. You never realize because it looks so good. I'm almost there. But you realize you're not realizing that the whole time they're sitting there watching you, plotting your destruction, and knowing you'll never get it. But if you do, then good for you, because then now you realize that it's fake. You can wake up. You say, oh, damn, it's a dream. I got to get up. I got to get the hell out of here. And you realize you're in a nightmare. You see? So then now, boom. Now you got to tell your people. You see? Now you hope they can catch it. You see? Give them a little scoop, a little push, so they can snatch it and realize it's all fake. And we need to get the hell out of here. You see? And that's what they don't want. They trying to, it said, you see, because your uprising is their destruction. Your unity is their destruction. They trying to keep you blind to things. Your discipline is their destruction. You see? So they're trying to prevent you from getting what you need because they're trying to save themselves. Everything that they're doing is to save themselves. Because if you wake up, they're in trouble. See? So they're not in your best interest. They said they do blasphemy, meaning that they lie. They said they ruin your good reputation. That's how they stole your image, right? Because they're the ones who stole it. They're the one who stole your image. It said Satan would masquerade as an angel of light. Talking about light is good news, right? So he's an infiltrator. He's in the way. He's giving bad news, but he's masquerading as good light, as good news. And he's masquerading as you, as a true seed of Abraham. But he stole your identity. And how do you perfect stealing someone's identity? You do blasphemy. You ruin their name, slander. You talk bad on them. You tell them that they niggas, that they prostitutes, they pimps, hoes, that they mastermind thieves, right? You say that they hustlers, they drug dealers, they whatever, right? They back talkers, they disrespectful, they don't treat their women right, and they see homosexuality and being a savage and being uneducated, and this is cool, you see, and they push that on you. That way, you see, and that's what you're watching. You're hearing the music, the negativity in the music. It's all to destroy you. And they got their blackface demon children, they got their blackface children. They got them as the representation, as your role models, you see, to destroy you. So you're looking up to the demons, all this bad information they're putting out, literally to destroy you. You see? So they're not your friends. They're doing blasphemy. They're ruining your good name. That way, in the end result is your destruction. So bam. You see? So if they say, this is what you are, well, then you can't be God's people, because you're all these things I'm telling you are. Right? So you wouldn't even buy it. No one else would either, because look how you represent yourself. Look how you carry yourself. They couldn't be God's people. But so now, you see, they can cling on and keep that claim. You see? So bam. That's how you do that. And then when they initiate, they got you set up in the trap, and they about to pull it. You see? And then when it happens, that means they're literally trying to eradicate you, trying to destroy you, take you out of existence, get rid of you, brothers and sisters. And when that do, then bam. Well, there was the reason behind it, because look how they act. Look how they was. So nobody give a damn. You see? So they're building up that energy, or not the energy, but how would I say it? They're building up to that point to having a valid excuse, a valid reason, and for people to look at it and say, well, I agree. You see? So nobody had sympathy for you. No one gave a damn about you. Nobody had empathy, sympathy, or nothing. Nobody cared. They're trying to build that up in people's brain. That way, when they pull the kill switch on you, nobody give a damn. They was good. They wasn't doing nothing anyway. They was sucking up all the energy. They weren't producing anyway. It was just in the way. You see? Oh, good. We got rid of them niggas. And that's what they want. You see? So And that's why, if you understand what I'm saying, said my people lost from the lack of knowledge. Bam! Back to this. Because why ain't they telling you that? Why ain't they telling you that they're plotting to take your life? And they're trying to, and they're broadcasting a live genocide to get people normalized to what they're about to do to you. See? So, either way it go, brothers and sisters, the message of the covenant has told us these things in great detail. He's telling us, he's the only one on the scene telling you who, when the war, when it's going to happen, that going to happen, who your enemies is, telling you who, what, and how it's going to happen, and what's going on, and what's the next thing to happen. Then he tell you that the abomination, right, that it would end with their destruction. With false Israel's destruction. Oh, excuse me. Bam. There's another thing that they ain't telling you. Because they can't tell you that because the world is structured around the idea that false Israel is the true seed of Abraham. So if they tell you this, then they definitely out of it. You see? It'll shatter. That's shockwaves. Boom! It blow this whole thing up. Everything come crumbling down. They tell you this is over with. That means that they're not, because this can't happen. So who the hell are these people? Who are these people? You see? They can't allow this information to be shared because who preaches their own destruction? That's another thing. So they don't tell you about this. You see? Because it says, but when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, then recognize that her desolation is near. Okay, so let's connect it. Who run Jerusalem? The capital, Jerusalem, the capital of what? False Israel. So you put in the proper context, what is it saying? It says, but when you see false Israel surrounded by armies, they recognize that false Israel's desolation is near. So what's desolation? Destruction. So it doesn't say salvation, redemption. It says destruction. It says it's near. So boom. That's initiation of attack all blacks. You see? It said flee, 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 flee. Telling you to get the hell away from these devils because now you've become an existential threat. You become a national security. They got the whole thing broadcasted. Attack all blacks because because if this happens, right? Because that's not supposed to happen. It said when God places people in that land, they're not to be uprooted or removed, right? So which is a clear indication that they not who they was. They were pretenders, that they was phony, that they was Satan. You see? And that means that the people that's been collaborating and partnering with them and associated with them is in trouble. It said curse those who curse God's people. And that's what they've been doing. Now they realize they curse. And now you the reason. See? Now they gotta go rush after you to get rid of the evidence to try to escape judgment. See? So now they know they can't allow false Israel to be destroyed first. That's why I say desolation is near. Right? So then when they see that it's near, they come to attack you. Because if false Israel be destroyed before that, then you rise up. And then they're in trouble. You see? That means that's their destruction. You rise up, so now they can't allow you to realize that you the true seed of Abraham. And that's when they rush after you and say, flee. You see? Said, don't go back to do this. Don't go back to do that. Don't go back to get your baby. Which tell you the seriousness of this time. Steps to seriousness of this time, how serious it is. What you mean I can't go get my baby? Boy, what you talking about? You must be crazy. That's how serious this moment is. You have to make a decision to save your life. It said if you hesitate, you'll lose your life. You see? So people that's in the way, see that this didn't have to happen like that. This happened like that because people was in the way. People was blocking the message. People wasn't giving you the message. People sitting on the information. They wasn't sharing the information. You see? Or they was blocking the light. Blocking the good information to save your family and save your life and your children's life. You see? See? So if you had a warning, you had a heads up, you had your children with you. And when the time happened, we be strolling out. You see? But now you're in a panic. And you hope that your children are with you. But if not, you have to make a decision to save yourself. See? And who gonna be mad? Who you think they're gonna be mad at? The people who allowed this to happen. You mean to tell me you knew about this or using the goddamn way and you the reason why something gonna happen to you? That's why I said I hate to be you. Woo! It's a terrible, terrible thing to be you. See? Even if your shoe was made of gold. Your shoe was made of gold. Wouldn't want nothing to do with it. So this is our circumstances, brothers and sisters, which the messenger of the covenant, Master Suleiman, the breaker of the 7 seals, he has clearly revealed these things to us in great detail. So with that being shared, brothers and sisters, I will now bring in the next speaker. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. I'm Nicolette Hodge. Here, bear witnessing to the messenger of the covenant, which the messenger of the covenant is the breaker of the 7 seals. He is Joshua the Messiah. He is the one to lead us home to the promised land. Now, sisters and brothers, the messenger of the covenant, who is also Daniel the prophet, prophesied well in advance, far in advance, about a war in heaven, which heaven is the Middle East. And he prophesied in great detail who is participating in this war, how each participant is aligned on each side of this war, the outcome of this war, and how this war will affect the original black man and woman right here in North America. He also prophesies how this war will affect America, Britain, false Israel, and the House of Assad. Also Iran and Syria, and our God, Master Farad Muhammad. He identified, he prophesied who will win this war and who will lose this war. And not just this war, sisters and brothers, many other wars that is to come, several wars. So we're going to stick to the war in heaven, which is the war in the Middle East, because that's the most relevant. That's where we're at here in time. That's what we are living out. So let's keep it moving. The war in heaven. The messenger of the covenant told us years in advance. The clip that we played in the beginning showed him speaking about this war in 2020. And the war occurred June 2025, or this stage of the war, because he also told us about the abomination of desolation. He prophesied that, which is the trigger to the war in heaven, the trigger to the war in the Middle East. So he told us about the abomination of desolation several years in advance as well. So the war in the Middle East. The messenger of the covenant is also the breaker of the 7 seals. So he has revealed the angel, which is Arabic for the gospel. So the angel is the unsealed book of Revelations. And he is the breaker of the 7 seals. And the book of Revelations identifies the war in heaven in great detail, sisters and brothers. So let's get into it. Revelations chapter 12, verse 7 through 9. And occurred war in the heaven. The Michael and the angels of him of the 2 warred with the dragon, and the dragon warred and the angels of it, and not it proved strong. Not but place was found of them yet in the heaven, and was thrown the dragon the great, the serpent the archaic, the being called devil and the Satan, the making to err, the being inhabited whole. He was thrown into the earth, and the angels of him with him were thrown. All right, sisters and brothers, so here in the angel, which is the unsealed book of Revelations, identified, unsealed by the breaker of the 7 seals, the messenger of the covenant, Master Suleiman. These verses tell us a location of the war, which the location is heaven. Heaven is the Middle East. Our enemies have taught us that we have to die to go to heaven, and that if we don't believe and pray to Jesus, we're going to die and go to hell. making these things that are real physical places and people, making it invisible, deceiving us, making us believe that all of these things are spooky, something that cannot be identified by the naked eye. However, in reality, we're in hell right now. We're in the hells of North America. Heaven is the Middle East. The devils is the Caucasian white man. They have enslaved and afflicted us for the last 400 years. Demons are their black-faced children. All right, here, the scripture speaks about Michael and his angels. Angels are real physical people. Michael is our God, Master Farad Muhammad. His angels are Iran and Syria. It speaks about the dragon. This is not some spooky, mystical creature that is invisible. The dragon is the House of Saud. And the dragon's angels is America, Britain, and false Israel. So Michael and the dragon, they both have angels. Countries that are aligned on either side of this war. So all of these things are identifiable. They are physical. We can confirm. We can physically see these people and places that are identified in the unsealed scriptures. So that's what the unsealed scriptures is. It is the light, sisters and brothers. It makes everything clear. So we're not wandering around in the darkness. So we're not stumbling. So we're not guessing and living in la la land, living in a delusion, an illusional dream. A dream itself is an illusion, isn't it? So this information wakes us up out of that dream and puts us back in touch with reality, because our enemies are trying to keep us out of touch with reality, trying to keep us from realizing who's who and what's what, because they are against us. And once our eyes are open, we can identify everything and everyone around us. And our enemies don't want that. They don't want us identifying who they are. They don't want us having that knowledge, that power, that wisdom to rise above them. However, just the mere fact that we are here reflecting that light to you, sisters and brothers, is evidence that we are in the process of rising above all of our enemies. And they cannot stop us. So the book of Revelations tells us where the war is located, who's involved in the war, and what the outcome is. It shares that the dragon and his angels were thrown out of the Middle East. And Michael and his angels were victorious. So Michael and his angels will win the war any day. And the dragon and his angels will lose the war. They will be defeated. And let's get into this. It shares the dragon and his angels will be thrown out. That's not a retreat. That's not a peace deal. That's not them surrendering. That means that the House of Saud, America, Britain, and false Israel will be forcefully removed from the Middle East. And until that structure happens, the war is not over. I don't care how good they try to make it look. I don't care what lies and propaganda they're spreading on the news. Until that structure happens, until the dragon and his angels are thrown out of heaven, then the war is not over, sisters and brothers. So this is also the future news. This is keeping us several steps ahead of these devils at all times. Once we understand the information that's given, because we know what's going to happen before it happens. So we're not anxious, afraid. We know exactly what's going to happen. We know exactly who's going to win. We know exactly who's going to lose. No one else on the planet knows this information, sisters and brothers. All these so-called black leaders, these preachers, these deacons, your ministers at your church, these palm readers, they call themselves seers and oracles. They're not telling you about the war in the Middle East and how it's going to affect you, sisters and brothers. They're not telling you who's going to win this war and who's going to lose. They don't even know what this war is about, which this war is all about us, sisters and brothers. We are the true seed of Abraham. Our home, Arabia, our promised land, which God gave his word to give us our land between the river of Egypt and the river Euphrates, and that land is Arabia. And Arabia is in the Middle East, which the Supreme Wisdom lessons tell you that Arabia is our heavenly home, our original land that we must return to. So it's also the best part of the planet Earth that we have preserved for ourselves. Farrakhan says we ain't going nowhere. He's part of that plan to destroy us. Farrakhan is our hidden enemy. He looks like us, but he has the blood of his devil father running through his veins. He is a demon, half devil, half man. The appearance of an original person, but the bloodline of his devil father. Period. He's produced from the rape of his black mother by his Portuguese Jewish father. And Farrakhan admits his father is a Jew. Farrakhan says we ain't going nowhere. However, here we are witnessing the war in heaven, the process in which our home is being purged of our enemies so that our land can be given back to us by Master Fard Muhammad and our Shia brothers, Iran and Syria. They have white skin, however, they have original blood running through their veins. So they are our paternal brothers. Therefore, they're fighting on our behalf. They're in sync with the Abrahamic covenant, with the unsealed scriptures. So that victory that we are about to witness from our brothers, which Master Fard Muhammad, he calls us his uncle and auntie. He doesn't want to be worshipped. So he's our brother as well. And we call him Master Fard Muhammad. We call him Master because we give respect where respect is due. And he has made an enormous, a severe accomplishment by putting the will together, producing this technical marvel that these devils can't even wrap their mind around, which is defying the laws of physics from their knowledge, and hovering over military bases, knocking out their power, their nuclear power, which Master Fard Muhammad is going to make sure that these devils cannot nuke up our land. So everything is happening right on time and in sync with the unsealed scriptures. It says everything written will be fulfilled, period. So anybody telling you that this is not happening, anybody telling you that we're not going home, anybody telling you that America is our land when scriptures clearly states that we're strangers in a land that's not ours, anybody saying that, going against the scriptures, is a goddamn liar and a thief and a deceiver, which we are warned throughout scriptures not to be deceived. So that means there's some deception going on, sisters and brothers. However, the unsealed scriptures makes it clear exactly where we're at in time, what we're up against, and how it is that we're going to come up out of this, sisters and brothers, because we have a home to return to. We have a paradise to build. We have been here for the last 400 plus years, and we're ready to go home. Homesick, if you will. We're sojourning in a land that's not ours. That means we're temporarily here. That means we have a land to go back to, a land that we are familiar with, our original land, Arabia. And the Abrahamic covenant is our vision. And the angel is our true mind, sisters and brothers. So with that being said, let's keep moving. Michael and his angels versus the dragon and his angels. All right. The angel tells us that Michael and his angels will be victorious. The dragon and his angels will be defeated. And again, until that structure happens of the dragon and his angels being thrown out the Middle East, that means forcefully removed, the war is not over until that happens. And we know that false Israel will be destroyed right there. So let's talk about the dragon. Who's the dragon? The House of Saud. The House of Saud is sitting on our land, Arabia. They stamped their name on it. They call it Saudi Arabia. That's a red flag. They're claiming to be owners of something that does not belong to them. So they've stolen our land. And what are they doing on our land? They are pumping oil out of our land and supplying or fueling America, Britain, and false Israel. So the dragon fuels his angels. And it just so happens that the European economy, America, Britain, and false Israel are 100% dependent upon oil to successfully run their economies. So without oil, what will happen? Ask yourself that, sisters and brothers. They need oil to pump oil. They need oil for electricity. They need oil for clean water. They need oil to plant food. They need oil to get that food into the grocery store. They need oil for their transportation. So without any oil, this reality comes to a screeching halt. And that's exactly what's going to happen. When Master Farad Muhammad, Iran, and Syria are victorious, they're going to take control of the region. They're going to get in control of our land, of our holy sites, of our resources, of our oil. And they're going to cut that oil spigot off. No more oil coming from the Middle East, period. And that's going to cause an immediate economic collapse for America, sisters and brothers. Understand that they will not have what they need. Oil is the lifeblood of this economy. So by something that simple as turning off the oil, that's going to cause an economic collapse. So that means that everything that we are doing today in this economy, because we're being held captive here in the land of our imprisonment, these devils won't let us go. They tell us in the book of Exodus, we're told that they don't want us to leave the country. And that they fear if a war breaks out that we will fight against America's enemies and then leave America. And they've tried all kind of things to destroy us. They tried to prevent us from multiplying. However, us warrior queens, we rose above that battle. We won that battle. And we assured that Abraham's seed kept coming through our womb so that we could be here today, sisters and brothers. However, what do you think our enemy will do to prevent us from leaving the country? Ask yourselves that. They do not want us to leave here. We are being held captive in the land of our imprisonment. And Farrakhan's telling us that we ain't going nowhere. So he's telling us that we need to stay captive. However, the angel clearly tells us, come out of her, my people, so that you don't share in her plagues. And I'm paraphrasing here. The point of the matter is, if we stay here, we're going to die. So Farrakhan is preaching a deadly demon message, trying to get us killed. So he's telling us that we ain't going nowhere, and that we're sinful and wicked, and that our children are ugly because of our black skin and nappy hair, the dominant traits that the original nation has. He says that we're cursed, which is the same thing his devil fathers say. They say that we're cursed. In reality, they are cursed. Farrakhan cursed with a curse for robbing God. So he doesn't have his reproductive organs and he's disemboweled. That's cursed. However, sisters and brothers, what will our enemies do to prevent us from leaving the country? On top of the fact of an economic collapse taking place, that means there's no food. That means there's going to be a famine of all resources. That includes food. However, our next speaker will identify the famine part. Let's speak about the fact that false Israel is about to be destroyed, which false Israel has stolen our identity. They're claiming that they're us. They don't have any historical proof to back that claim up. They're liars, thieves, murderers. Not the seed of Abraham, but the seed of the devil. False Israel is the synagogue of Satan. Yet Satan claims to be the true seed of Abraham. However, scriptures tells us that Satan is about to be destroyed. So when Satan is destroyed, when false Israel is destroyed, it's 100% clear that the original black men and women here in the hills of North America is, in fact, the true seed of Abraham, the inheritors of the Abrahamic covenant. What? Because that means if we're inheritors of the Abrahamic covenant, that means we're leaving the country, right? That means we're going back home to our land, right? That means we're leaving America. That means that these devils and demons, the chief demon, Louis Farrakhan, can no longer leech off of us, taking our energy and building their paradise off of our backs. That means that they're nothing. All of this goes to turmoil, all the way down to their destruction. However, what will our enemies do to prevent us from taking what's ours? All blacks will be under attack, sisters and brothers. We are in danger simply because we are the true seed of Abraham. That's one of the reasons. There's more reasons than that, but that's the focus on this part right here. And these devils are not going to try to figure out who's original and who's demons. They're not going to try to figure out who's the true seed of Abraham and who's a house Negro. They're going to attack all blacks. So we are in danger, sisters and brothers. This war is about us. It's about us taking back what is ours, taking our land back, taking our power back. And they are totally 100% against that. All of our enemies are conspiring together to prevent the fulfillment of the Abrahamic covenant. However, they cannot stop this, sisters and brothers. And the more they resist, the harder their downfall, the harder their destruction, the more intense. So understand that we're in danger, sisters and brothers. Before false Israel is destroyed, America will make a move to totally exterminate us, because they cannot let false Israel go down before they destroy us. Otherwise, it's clear who we are. The true seed of Abraham will never be destroyed. So the fact that false Israel is about to be destroyed, that's proof right there that they're not who they claim to be. However, their destruction makes it totally clear to everyone who they are. And it makes it clear to everyone who we are. So understand the target is on our backs, sisters and brothers. And everything we see happening with ICE, these concentration camps, the ongoing abominable, cruel destruction of the Palestinians at the hands of America and Britain, who are supporting false Israel 100%, loading up the gun and giving it to false Israel blowing the Palestinians to pieces. And the world has not stopped it. The world is actually becoming desensitized. So that's target practice. The target is on our back, and they're just practicing right now. And they've taken the illegals in America and rounded them up, not sending them back to their country, but putting them in detention in prisons in other countries. and then attacking the sister. So now they've actually put a black face on it. So now, well, it's clear to us, however, now it's been exposed and identified that they will attack blacks at the drop of a dime. You don't have to do anything wrong. Just being a black person in America can get you killed or rounded up and put in a detention center. And they have already legalized the use of deadly force if they even suspect unity, us coming together as a group, as one people, one body. So they already have plans in place to destroy us, sisters and brothers. They're just waiting to push that button. So here we are, sisters and brothers, any day. America's going to lose the war in the Middle East. When America loses the war, it's going to be an economic collapse, economic destruction, famine. All blacks will be under attack. And when false Israel is destroyed, the true seed of Abraham will be revealed. So, this is the information that you need, sisters and brothers, to be on the right side of this, so that we can come out on top without a hair on our head being touched. We have the 5 pillars of Islam, the 5 mathematical pillars, which is our protection. And it is our very nature of discipline. So scriptures talks about men's hearts failing from fear. We don't worry about that because we know how to firm our hearts so that we don't have that emotional response to the point of having a heart attack, having a stroke. That won't be us. We understand consequence. For every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. So just knowing that right there, we did 400 years, 400 plus years. We endured enslavement and affliction. We endured the Holocaust. That means that we have a reward. And our reward has to be just as great as the suffering that we endured. And charity, we naturally do it, sisters and brothers. Giving to each other. Taking care of one another. Fasting 1 meal a day so we can maximize our energy. And Hajj, unity and cooperation under the vision of the Abrahamic covenant, us coming together as one mighty army, one body, one people. So the 5 mathematical pillars of Islam, which I did not say them in order, let me make that clear. However, that's the 5 pillars right there. That is our protection. And that is our power, sisters and brothers. So we're going to be victorious. And we see our brothers in the Middle East kicking ass right now. And just as they will be victorious, we will be victorious as well, sisters and brothers. So that's also an example of what's coming here. All right. So with that being said, that brings this segment to an end, and I'll turn it over to the next speaker. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. There will be an attack on all blacks when America is thrown out of heaven. or the Middle East. Sisters and brothers, America has set a snare for the original black man and woman, the original nation. Our enemies are planning or plan to kill us all, or as many as they can kill. Before we recognize the trap that they have set for us, the snare. So, sisters and brothers, we need to understand that we are, as a nation, being blocked from the truth. And we must understand that the chief demon, Louis Farrakhan, Legion, Louis Eugene Grounds, who has turned the NOI backwards, is working for America. He is working for false Israel. He's working for the synagogue of Satan, which is false Israel. He's working for the Sunni Muslims, the House of Saud, Saudi Arabia. Sisters and brothers, he refuses to speak the covenant. He refuses to share with us that we're going home, that God have made a promise, a covenant with Abram. Until thy seed have I given the land from the river Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates. So, sisters and brothers, Louis Farrakhan keeps calling us sinful, keeps trying to share with us, him and his student ministers, that we are wicked, that we're ugly, sinful people in the inside. That's why we're ugly. And what's on the inside is what's manifested on the outside, as if we're ugly, nappy head. These are what he calls ugly. The original man and woman are dominant traits. And his student minister, Ishmael Muhammad, shares that we are animals. And Jesus, or Louis Farrakhan, is the only man, the first he's achieved to be a man when he's a devil. He's the son, the seed of a Caucasian white man and a Jew named Percival Clark. So that makes him a black-faced devil, a demon. Sisters and brothers, Louis Farrakhan is working to keep us from wanting to leave America, to keep us from entertaining our birthright, to keep us from entertaining that, from separating from this devil. By sharing with devils are not devils no more. He's going to make America great. Think about that, sisters and brothers. How is Louis Farrakhan, who is pissing and shitting in a bag, cannot walk, going to make America great and going to reform devils, when the supreme wisdom lessons share with us that all the prophets have tried to reform devil and could not. And instead of wasting time grafting them back, which would take 600 years, we're going to get rid of them. However, Louis Farrakhan said he is constantly talking about how he's going to vindicate or save the Jews. The synagogue of Satan. Those that call themselves Jews and are not. The scriptures shares with us not one of them are righteous. None. But Louis Farrakhan keeps talking about there's some good ones and some bad ones. Because, sisters and brothers, he is a Jew. He is of the synagogue of Satan. And he's trying to keep us oblivious to the plan that our enemies have set for us. Louis Farrakhan, he tore the Nation of Islam down. He got rid of the Nation of Islam. Him along with Wallace, but he had say. He was, as he says, he was the messenger's spokesperson, the head, the one in charge. But he didn't take the leadership role. However, he joined forces with Wallace D. Muhammad, and together they both destroyed the Nation of Islam. And Louis Farrakhan has lived like a buzzard, a vulture on the Nation of Islam. Off the carcass, constantly lying and sharing with the sisters and brothers that he's rebuilding his economic program. The, donate to his economic program. And this has been going on for 42 years, and Louis Farrakhan has not produced nothing in 42 years. His economic program is not producing food, clothing, and shelter for our community. The Nation of Islam is not the pillar of their community. The Nation of Islam is not coming. It's with so many things taking place in the black community, that with police and sisters being attacked and beat up and people being, do you think that there's any sighting of the Nation of Islam? Not one. Is there the Nation of Islam has no, because they have not set up nothing in the neighborhoods. They're standing on corners, selling bean pies, fruit bags, blocking traffic, just being annoying, and don't have any businesses, any jobs that they can offer. They're not an influence in the community. They don't have any homes, apartment buildings, banks, nothing. They cannot provide any sense of food, clothing, and shelter. Louis Farrakhan and Wallace destroyed our security, because food, clothing, and shelter is a security blanket was a security blanket for our nation. For us doing for self, we took care of self. We produced and had for self jobs that we produce for ourselves. Sisters and brothers, we have to understand that Louis Farrakhan is the son of perdition. And America is going to attack all black. His job is to keep you from seeing it, recognizing it, that they're going to attack us. His job is to make you think that it's going to be okay. You're going to be all right. Don't look to separate. Don't look to have your own. Don't look to return to your own home. When the Supreme Wisdom Lessons share, it's a must that we return to our original land. Sisters and brothers, as well as the Abrahamic covenant, shares with us that God, in that same day, God made a covenant with Abram, saying, "Until thy seed have I given this land from the river Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates." However, Louis Farrakhan, his student ministers, said, "We're staying here. We're not returning back to Africa. We're not going back to to the Middle East. We're staying right here in America, in the land of our affliction. Sisters and brothers, America has set up the Department of Defense 5240.01 that they have written in where they can utilize the military, every level of policing to attack and use lethal force against us or American citizens. Really use lethal force against the original black man and woman. Sisters and brothers. And when America is kicked out the Middle East, they're going to attack us. Before false Israel is destroyed. However, after the chief demon Louis Farrakhan is exposed, deposed, and cast down out of the Nation of Islam. Sisters and brothers, when America is thrown out of heaven, out of the Middle East, knowing that their removal out of heaven, out of the Middle East, gave full control of the Middle East to Michael and his angels. And there will be no one, will be no one to protect false Israel. And false Israel will be sieged and destroyed. But knowing that, America knows what false Israel has been set up for, to counter the narrative that Elijah Muhammad shared with the world and us, that we are the true seed of Abraham, that we're living out scriptures. And America set false Israel up to steal our identity, to make a claim as if the Abraham covenant was fulfilled. However, sisters and brothers, America is going to attack us because they know the truth of who false Israel is. And false Israel's destruction is going to destroy their religious eschatology. The lies that they have pumped up and pushed on the world to cause the world to see or think that false Israel is the true seed of Abraham or God's chosen people. That lie that America opposes with punishment force on people that nations that are against false Israel. America intimidates, bullies, sanctions, and attack nations that don't recognize false Israel. So, sisters and brothers, attack on all blacks. This any day, an attack on all blacks will take place. And sisters and brothers, if you're paying attention to what's taking place in the country, and as you look and see the aggression and the evil and the hate that is stirring up from the Caucasian white man against the original black man and woman here in America, the hanging of our children, our young men and women, the attacking that the police are consistently attacking us, bodies being found mutilated with their organs removed. This sisters and brothers, we are under attack. And America has set up military in the black neighborhoods for this attack. So when they call this attack, everything is already set. The snare is set. Now, sisters and brothers, this attack is the outcome of the war. America, Britain, and false Israel, as well as the dragon, the house of Sod, being defeated in this war in heaven or the Middle East. America's defeat will cause us, the original black man and woman, to understand that we are directly affected and responsible for what's taking place in the world. Our 400-year sojourn is over, and America and the world, the nations, are being judged. So, sisters and brothers, when America attacks us, we will be successful. We will come together overnight as an exceedingly great army. We will know that we are the true seed of Abraham. And we are coming to understand that there's no one that is going to protect us. No other people, nation, no one is going to protect us. No one is going to stand up for us but ourselves. We have to do it ourselves. We have to understand that our enemies are at war with us. We have to understand that we are at war. And that our enemies are not playing. We're an existential threat to their nature, to their reality. An existential, that means our rise is their destruction. And they understand that they're being judged for what they've done to us. That America is under judgment, sisters and brothers. And when false Israel is destroyed, they know we're going to rise, so they have to move before false Israel is destroyed. Now, sisters and brothers, the effect on the original black man and woman, the true seed of Abraham, God's chosen people, from this war, and how it's going to affect America. Sisters and brothers, this war is going to bring an economic collapse on America. And this economic collapse is going to cause a food shortage, a food desert. That is going to cause a catastrophic problem. No oil, no lights, no gas, no food. It's going to cause people to go insane, lose their mind, and cannibalism is going to enter their mind when they don't have food, when they're hungry. And sisters and brothers, America already shares with us that we're seen as animals, 3/5 of a human. We don't have human rights. That's why, because we was not considered human. They said we were considered pets. What is a pet? Animal. And Ishmael is also saying that we are animals. In the broadcast last Sunday, that we are evolved. We haven't evolved to a man. The only one that has evolved or is into the nature of a man. Like, we have just constantly trying to tell us we're wicked by nature. That's totally against the supreme wisdom. We are righteous people by nature, sisters and brothers, and these devils are wicked by nature. They cannot be reformed. But they keep trying to share with us that we're devil, we're ugly, we are wicked people on the inside. What's that mean? If we're wicked and ugly and what's on the inside is showed on the outside, then he's calling us wicked and the devil's righteous. And the only one that is a human is a devil. Louis Farrakhan, who is the seed of a Jew and a Caucasian white man named Percival Clark. He's trying to, oh, he's the Messiah. He's the only man. He's a devil. He's a speaking beast in black clothes, black skin. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing. He's the terror that is sitting among the wheat. He is the man of sin, the son of perdition, who is sitting in the temple of God, claiming, exalting himself above all that is called God and that is worshiped, claiming that he is God. Sisters and brothers, Revelation 6:6 lets us know what they plan to do and what they have done to us previously and what they're planning to do. Sisters and brothers, and I heard as voice in midst of 4 living saying, conics of wheat of denarius, and 3 conices of barley of denarius, and the oil and the wine not you should treat unrighteously. Conices mean a serving of food. So they're planning to eat us. We're seen as wheat, food for them. And this is speaking on the wheat. The wheat. Who is the wheat? The wheat is the NOI, the Nation of Islam. In the unsealed scriptures, we're the wheat. The demons are the chaff that look like the wheat. Here, they're stated as the barley. We're the wheat. And the 3 conices of barley, these is all blacks. This is the saying that they plan to eat all blacks. The wheat and the barley. And the barley are their black-faced children. And it says 3 conices of denarius. 3 conices of barley of denarius. That's the 3 demons. The green, red, and white demons. And the wheat, which is the black horse, the Nation of Islam, they plan to attack and eat all blacks. And the unsealed scriptures lets us know that, sisters and brothers. The scriptures say what do they plan to do? Here. This is what they plan. This is what they have done already. Uh-oh. What happened? Okay. Malachi 3:1-3 states, said, listen, you leaders of Israel, you are supposed to know right from wrong. This is speaking of Israel. But you are the very ones who hate good and love evil. The synagogue of Satan. You hate good and you love evil. There's no righteousness. There's nothing good in them. Your skin, you skin my people alive and tear the flesh from their bones. Yes, you eat my people's flesh, strip off their skin, and break their bones. You chop them up like meat for the cooking pot. Sisters and brothers, this is what they do. They eat black people. These devils eat us. They see us as animals, a delicacy. And they're planning to attack us all. And the situation is going to cause them to eat us. Cannibalism, a lack of food, this whole system, their reality brought to a crashing halt. So they're going to see us, they're going to band together and attack us because we're not human. We're animals. That's enough for them to justify them being able to eat us, that we're less than them. We're not on the same. We're not the same. We're animals and they're human. That's what they're thinking. But they are animals, a talking beast. So, sisters and brothers, let's move on. This lets us know that it says, you chop them up. You chop my people up like meat for the cooking pot. You be smelling, what's in there? They got herbs and whatever they can find and meat. Black meat, black man, black arm, black man, neck, back, leg, arm, fingers, food for them. And they will eat you. They've eaten us before and they're going, this is what's going to be produced. The situation is going to bring drastic measures like this on the world. War in the Middle East, economic destruction, famine, all blacks up under attack. To see the Abraham revealed. These is what is causing this war, the war in heaven. We are. Our 400-year sojourn is over, sisters and brothers. We're preparing to return home. And for us to return to our promised land, we must understand who we are. We must let go of this devil and Satan. We must not let go having any type of remorse or feelings of empathy, anything for this devil. Sisters and brothers, we have to let this devil's mind go and install the angel mind and upload it. We have to utilize the 5 pillars of Islam for our protection. We have to come together as a mighty army, as a nation, a mighty nation, as one body in Hajj. Sisters and brothers, unified against our enemies as we move through this time that scriptures share with unprecedented time, a time like never before, going through tribulations, this time of cannibalism, chaos, murder, the demon war. Going through this daily, this time of the scripture call it the time of which the Lord's day. So, sisters and brothers, this war in the Middle East is going to bring an economic collapse on the world and America. No, America's not. Sisters and brothers, we have to understand that America is not going to give us any information that would assist us in any kind of way. We really need to understand what an enemy is. That America is our enemy and has enslaved and afflicted us and we have been under attack for over 400 years. They deal truly with us. They plan to kill us. They have a trap set because they can't get rid of us. They can't, their time is up, and they're not going to turn over or just cut out and allow their reality to be taken out. This American dream. They plan to fight to the bitter end. And with what? And how? Sisters and brothers. We are the true seed of Abraham. America knows that. False Israel been set up because of that. The house of Sod is being protected by America to stay in our land, on our land, to control the all. In the land, in the heaven. Sisters and brothers, the true seed of Abraham is the original black man and woman. We have suffered, we have been through 400 years of affliction. This is the land of our affliction, meaning as long as we are here, we're going to be afflicted. And all you have to do is open your eyes and see who's being killed on a consistent and has been killed, who's being attacked on every level. The system is attacking, and the system itself keeps its foot and its weapons pointed at directly on the original black man and woman 24/7, 365. So, sisters and brothers, we have to understand that we're going to be successful, that we have a way out. And the messenger of the covenant has provided us this way. However, we have to upload our new mind, the angel mind. You have to have a thorough knowledge of self to return home. Sisters and brothers, we will go through this unprecedented time of tribulations, but we will be purified, burnt, purified from this devil, Satan's mind. That has been forced on us. This devil's reality. We are bringing in our reality, our heaven, sisters and brothers. We are the true seed of Abraham. We have put in work. We have been through 400 years of slavery and affliction. And we're coming out with great substance. And that means we're coming out here with riches. Not broke, not just a new mind, but with riches. Jewels, or what is it? It said riches, riches, I can't think of it. Jewels. However, sisters and brothers, false Israel will be destroyed first. False Israel's destruction is going to shock the world. Shock the world. Men's hearts will fail from fear for what they see take place in false Israel. Because they know what they're going to understand what they just witnessed happen to false Israel is coming on the earth. It's coming to America. Because, first of all, false Israel was a lie set up to make people think that there was God's chosen people, but their destruction has opened the eyes of the people, nations of the world, to who the real true seed of Abraham is, the original black man and woman in America. Men's hearts going to fail for fear that for their judgment, how they're about that America is being judged, what's about to take place and happen with America. Because they're not getting away with sodomizing and they're not getting away with anything. Yes, they have changed us from angels to gods. However, sisters and brothers, we will be attacked, under full attack. Not just by America, by the dragon, the house of Saudi Arabia, by these false Jews that are over here. Man, because they've been defeated, and they know that we're the true seed of Abraham. Sisters, brothers, our enemies are in an alliance against us, because our rise is going to bring down. It's going to destroy their rule, their They're simply, it's false Israel destruction, America's destruction, Britain's destruction, and the destruction of the House of Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states that disassembled, destroyed, took apart, picked apart, and we, the original black man and woman here in America, returns to our land in Saudi Arabia. No, in the house where they've named Saudi, in Arabia. That's what it is. Because they then try to claim our land, putting their name in front of Arabia, the house of Saud. Sisters and brothers, they too will also be destroyed and thrown out of the Middle East. And we're going to take our land back. They're going to attack us, knowing that we're coming to get our land. That's why they paying Louis Farrakhan to keep, don't ever mention that. Keep that as far away from them as you can, for they won't know that this is their land, that the Arabia is our land. That's why Louis Farrakhan can't. He cannot utter, he cannot utter, him or his student ministers, anything of the Abrahamic covenant. That's how you know he's working, but he can't mention it at all. It's a can of worms just to mention the Abrahamic covenant. Will cause the world, or will cause the nations to attack us all, to try to keep us from rising. However, sisters and brothers, with that, we will be successful. The only light is the Injil, the Gospel of Revelations. And all else, and all others are thieves and robbers, blocking the truth from you, lying, calling themselves this, calling themselves that. Sisters and brothers, any day, we're coming up on this drastic time as we speak. Any day, when this war escalates again, Iran is going to hit America like a whirlwind, and the Gulf nation, and is going to throw America, Britain, and false Israel as out the Middle East. So, sisters and brothers, I'm going to bring this to a close and greet you in the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. And I'm going to pass give the control, give the floor back to the sister. Assalamu alaikum.